If there's anywhere that you need some help, don't wait. Reach out.
Get your daily dose of motivation on the Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast. In Motivation with Michelle podcast, you'll get encouraging, uplifting, and life-changing wisdom that will transform your world at your fingertips, 24 hours a day. Get a fuller, deeper revelation of the tools you can implement to see incredible transformation in your life from Michelle Newstetter's powerful teachings. Tune in whenever you need to be edified, uplifted, or a dose of motivation, no matter where you are. Subscribe to Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast with Michelle Newstetter today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud.
Hey there, and welcome to this Wednesday Word of Wisdom. My name is Michelle Newstetter, and I'm really glad that you're joining me here today. I'm a counseling therapist, and I have seen firsthand how the stigma of therapy can really impact on people. This sense of like, I have to hide it, that there shouldn't be anything wrong in my life. And yet, wouldn't it be so nice for each of us if we could just own it? I mean, even as therapists, we need therapists. You know, I've been through my fair share of challenges, and I can tell you firsthand that it doesn't come easy. And we need that outside perspective and that challenge to our thinking and that ability to reflect and look at what's happening inside of myself so that I can increase my awareness, which is going to help me to shift towards the future, the changes, the improvements, the repairs that I need in my life in order to really live well. Just think about it for a minute, okay? Imagine you're driving your car and all of a sudden you hear a funny noise and you maybe are like, you know what? I'm just going to ignore it. Maybe it'll go away. But then over time, the noise gets louder. There's other things that start to impact, and I'm not sure what's happening here. And, you know, there comes a point in time where it's like, all right, I'm going to need to repair whatever it is that's wrong right now. So some people, they might try to fix the car themselves. Or maybe you would take it to a mechanic with years and years of training and expertise in fixing cars. Most of us would want to, take it to the mechanic, get the repairs done, kind of move on with our lives. Even just the maintenance and ongoing needs of the car, tends to be better for us to take it to the expert, to work through whatever it is, to keep things up, to keep things rolling well, so that maybe we even avoid some of the big damages later because things get caught way earlier. So why is that? Why would we choose to trust the mechanic with our car or the contractor with our house repairs, or go to the doctor when we're feeling ill, or even just for a checkup? And yet we don't want to go to a therapist to work through thoughts, feelings, traumas, challenges that we're experiencing. Why is it that some of us almost refuse to seek professional help when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to our overall well-being? And even if we do decide to go to the therapist, why is it that we feel the need to keep it hush-hush and not tell anybody as though it's something to be ashamed of? Our mental health is literally just as important as our physical health. And at some point in our lives, each one of us struggles with our mental health in one way or another. And yet so many people are resistant to seeking out professional support when it comes to their mental health because they're worried about judgment, shame, stigma. And yet you're not alone in your struggles. just like you're not alone in overcoming them. I'd say a lot of the time, though, we start off thinking that, you know what, I can deal with this on my own. I'll pick up a book, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll listen to an audiobook, we go to the self-help aisle and we try to work through things on our own. We may not even go that far. We may not even go to self-help. We might just try to work through it on our own. And I mean, admitting that you need help is not always easy. It takes courage and it takes strength. But by seeking out support, by seeking out help, we're showing ourselves that we value ourselves. We're showing ourselves that we want to make positive changes in our lives. I mean, really, that's the thing, right? So therapy is there for mental health, severe mental health sometimes. It's also there for making positive changes. It's there for working through challenges or struggles. It's there for your personal development, no matter how big or how small. I mean, most people think that you have to have gone through something super traumatic or have a severe mental health issue in order to seek out therapy. That's not necessarily true. Sure, that is what it's for too, but that's not necessarily what it's for. Like I said, we go to the doctors for checkups just to make sure that our body is still working well. We can take our car to the mechanic to do just regular maintenance, right? You're not going to wait until the wheels are falling off your car to take it to the mechanic. No trauma is too big or too small and should never be ignored. Every mental health concern is valid and it is worth working through and treating. And I know I've said it before, but we don't need to compare ourselves to others or wonder if, somebody else has it worse than me, or, am I even sick enough to get help, that type of thing. The most important thing is to take care of yourself. Now, I know cost is always a big factor for most people, right? When it comes to their mental health, we do have to see it as an investment into ourselves. And I mean, so much of the time, there's coverage or ways of getting support that we may not have even known was possible. I hear the question sometimes though, my real worry is that if I start therapy, it's never going to end. And you know what? There are people who remain in connection with their therapist for long-term, continuous maintenance and support. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's working through a specific challenge and then we're done. Or it might be a series of challenges and then we're done. It may be that we're there for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. And that length and frequency of sessions is really based on whatever the challenge is for you at that point in time. But sometimes it is good to go back sporadically and hear some of the same wisdom that we've heard before. I know it works for me, when I'm chatting with a colleague or a supervision group or in therapy myself. I love the questions. I love being reminded of all of the strategies and tools. And I'm like, oh man, that was so good. What a great refresher. I really needed that. Because guess what? We don't have it all figured out. We need support of our own. Just because we're there to support you and help you and move you through things does not mean that I've got it all together and that my life is free of any kind of challenge or pain or trauma or problem. That's not the case. We're all learning and growing continuously. And that sometimes creates awareness of things we may have never even known that were sitting beneath the surface. We're kind of constantly having to excavate and dig things up and recognize what some of the challenges are for me. What are some of the things that have impacted who I am, where I am, some of my behaviors, what shows up in my world. And I have to be willing to reach out to get that reflection, to get support. And the same is true for you. If you're challenged with anything, if there's anywhere that you need some help, don't wait. Reach out. Forget the stigma around therapy. Own it. Own it, right? I find that people are the healthiest when they're like, yeah, man, my therapist said, or they're just owning the fact that they're utilizing therapy as a means of growth as a means of healing, as a means of growing and learning. You're going to be able to create deep understanding. You're going to be able to bring yourself satisfaction and peace in your life. Let's get talking. Let's remove that stigma. Let's own it. Let's reach out. Bye for now.